The Marion County Public Defender's Office says the county could spend more than $1 million on the murder cases against Jonathan Cruz. The Indianapolis man is accused of shooting and killing 3 men in May. Reporter Barbara Brozier joins us now with more.
So, Joe, the reason those cases could be so expensive is because the Marion County prosecutor is pursuing the death penalty. The state will reimburse Marion County for up to 50% of the costs for providing Cruz's attorneys. But that means the county could still be on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars it didn't budget for. Over a period of 3 days in May, police say 19-year-old Jonathan Cruz shot and killed 3 men. Court documents say Cruz told a friend he was inspired by a 2013 horror movie called The Purge, where all crimes are made legal for 1 day a year. But Cruz is now facing the death penalty.
It needs to be a thoughtful, deliberative decision and not a decision because you're mad.
Marion County Prosecutor Terry Curry formed a review committee when he took office that considers whether the death penalty should be pursued in qualifying cases. He says it helps take the emotions out of the process.
When a 7-year-old girl is murdered, when a baby is been killed by the boyfriend or the mother, I assure you that we are angry and furious every single time, that we're confronted with those circumstances, but that's why you need to step back from that and make it a thoughtful process.
The panel considers several factors, including the evidence in the case, the defendant's criminal history, and whether there are any substance abuse issues. The prosecutor's office also talks to the families of victims.
We will obviously try to gauge the wishes of the family to understand that, but ultimately their wishes can't control the decision.
One factor that does not play a large role in deciding how to move forward is the cost of death penalty cases. According to a 2015 Legislative Services Agency report, death penalty cases cost, on average, nearly 10 times as much as pursuing a sentence of life without parole.
Certainly is a secondary consideration that, I know it's going to then end up costing the county in terms of additional cost for the Public Defender's Office, the court staff, court security.
According to figures compiled by the Marion County Public Defender's Office, the county spent more than $2 million on 6 death penalty cases over the past decade. Of those cases, 4 resulted in life without parole sentences. The other 2 are still awaiting trial, which means the costs will only increase. The county used to set aside a designated amount in its budget every year to handle death penalty cases, but the costs became too unpredictable.
I can't predict year in, year out which case is going to go death, so it creates quite a hardship on my budget.
Chief Public Defender Robert Hill says his office pays for death penalty cases up front and then asks the county council for reimbursement.
They have to borrow from funds that they might want to otherwise use for funding, say, police cars or parks or something like that. So this is a really big problem.
The state will also pitch in up to 50% of the costs for a death penalty case, but Hill says it's still a huge financial burden for the county, one he doesn't think is worth the payoff.
If you think about it, all the money we spent, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's just simply not worth it, not worth the distortion we have to go through, the budgetary distortion we have to go through to get the job done.
So far, the Public Defender's Office has only spent $320 on the Jonathan Cruz case, but Hill says his office is just getting started. He thinks the case could reach the $1 million mark.
If it's a marathon run, we haven't even gotten out of starting blocks yet.
Other counties have paid for death penalty cases by raising taxes and dipping into their road funding. The Marion County prosecutor has filed 4 death penalty requests in his more than 5 years in office. He says one of the reasons he established this review panel for the cases is because his predecessor filed 29 death penalty requests over a period of 16 years. Only one of those cases resulted in the defendant going to death row.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara.